Next, we have Theo Chino. Theo, you on?
Yes, hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Hey, Theo,
Sean.
good to see you.
Good to see you. My name is Theo Chino. I am the co-founder of Show the Book, which is a legacy. And I wanted to talk about your legacy as HPD commissioner. Several of HPD high-end commissioner have been jailed because of corruption, using the HPD stock and being put in jail over $2.5 million of bribe. 135 empty units in the hand of HPD are still empty from the time you were a commissioner. About 300 TPT housing program building are going in foreclosure 10 years later because a lot of nonprofit corporations have been scavenging and taking the equity out of those buildings. Well,
Theo, I'm sorry, but
no, the question I was simply,
rules.
should he run on the Republican ticket instead of being a Democrat? And what will you do if you get elected? Thank you.
But Theo, as a lifelong Democrat who's been committed, as I said in my opening statement, to solving the problems of housing and homelessness, of racial injustice in this city, there's no way I'd run as a Democrat in this race. I'm a lifelong, as a Republican, I'm a lifelong Democrat who was proud to serve all 8 years in President Obama's cabinet. I'm also deeply proud of my record of service, that there has been extremely limited corruption or other problems like the ones that you're talking about during my time, both as HPD commissioner and as well as HUD secretary. In fact, if you ask the Department of Investigation, during my 5 years as HPD commissioner, we worked extremely closely together. We were able to actually catch elected officials and others who were trying to undermine the integrity of our programs. And I have never been directly accused of any kind of malfeasance or any kind of corruption in the programs that I've run. And that was after we inherited a department that had become deeply corrupt under Rudy Giuliani. And so I'm proud of that record.
Thank you, Sean. I'm going to make sure that everyone gets a chance who has not asked a question. Barry Skolnick.
I think you're on mute, Barry.
Barry, yeah, unmute.
The statement of 2021.
Okay. Hi.
There you are.
Unfortunately, I'm about to ask another HPD question. During your 5 years there was a record of a lot of projects, housing projects started, but I don't remember there being a record of a lot of housing projects that were completed. Could you go into some detail about how you improved the housing, the completion of housing projects during your 5 years there? And would that be what you would say is an example of your leadership that you could show would continue as mayor?
Absolutely, Barry, and I'm glad you asked that question. I will say, as we all know in this city, that it takes time. If you work with a community, if you really develop housing in partnership, it takes time. And we dramatically accelerated the construction of housing. In fact, you may remember that when I came in, there was a 65,000 unit housing plan. We turned it into a 165,000 unit housing plan. So we did accelerate dramatically the affordable housing that was getting built around the city. And there are many projects that I'm proud of. Even going back to my early days, right when I got out of school, I started working with South Bronx churches, East Brooklyn congregations, leaders around the city to make sure that we were building home ownership that built Black and brown wealth. And Nehemiah Spring Creek is a very good example of a project like that I completed with them. But I think probably the one I'm proudest of is where I announced my campaign. It's called Via Verde. And we engaged with a deep conversation with the local community board, local leaders. What we heard is they wanted housing that was the healthiest affordable housing in the city, if not in the country. We ran a worldwide design competition to get the best architects, the best landscape architects to partner with us. And we built a housing that is not only deeply affordable, mixes senior and family units. It has a health clinic on the ground floor. It has an amazing playground and courtyard. And perhaps most remarkable, it has cascading rooftops in the project that are all planted with vegetable gardens and fruit trees that the young people growing up there harvest every day and serve on their dinner tables. Villa Verde is an example of what we could do everywhere. When Ruben Diaz Jr. was there at the ribbon cutting with me, he said, let it be known that where the Bronx was once burning, we are now building gardens in the sky. Those are the kind of affordable housing developments that we can do as if I were mayor, that absolutely engage communities and build not just affordable housing, but healthy, sustainable housing as well.
Thank you, Sean.